Madam Secretary, please announce the first speaker.
The first speaker is Andrew Gravener.
Okay, so starting off with the Chief's report should be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes at every meeting, and if it exceeds 3 minutes, we should go back to the amount of time the chief takes, and everyone should be able to speak both in person and on the phone. So we had a lot of talk today. It's kind of notable that every time, why don't you have a little bit more concern when the LAPD shoots and kills someone? I mean, you got all this stuff when a cop is shot and killed, but nothing when the cops repeatedly shoot and kill community members.
That's right.
And it seems like you got a lot of talk about the hardships of the LAPD in general. That's literally not just in general now. But you know, you got so much hassle and such. Well, the community is continuously being harassed and brutalized, and it's just, I don't know. But you're all suffering so much, I guess. So we have the consent agenda. We have something for a harbor cleanup. Why is the LAPD in charge of that? We have something related to body worn cameras. Looks like something about using it for surveillance while you ignore the body cam footage while you look at the body cam footage of the cops shooting and killing people, being brutal, and say, oh, well, it was in policy, but now you have evidence showing it's not in policy what the LAPD did when they shot someone, killed someone, all that stuff. We have something related to a community safety partnership where you're gonna do this whole thing where you're gonna try to make it sound like you're for the community and you just get use it for more surveillance. We got a $17,000 car wash upgrade. We've got a $5,000 holiday party for the Newton Division. And we got another vacation for the chief, it looks like. I guess memorial, but no memorials for when the LAPD shoots and kills someone. So we have the annual summary related to complaints. So let's look at this. So generally speaking, it's pretty obvious that when the LAPD does is a complaint filed against them, clearly something the LAPD did something wrong. So let's look at this. You sustained last year just 4.7% of your complaints total. You sustained 0 bias policing complaints.
Outrageous.
You sustained 0 unwelcome sexual advance in the workplace complaints. You sustained, let's see, just sustained nothing here basically. You couldn't even sustain more than 3 seatbelt violations.
Next speaker is Maria Carranza.
Good morning. Good morning, all. Share my sincere condolences.
That was like 0, like 2 or
For you to accept all this disrespect for each and every official of the law. And I'm sorry that this happened. Next, I need to bring up to you, I filed a police report against my attorneys. Thieves, is what it is. My name is Margarita Carranza, and I was here a few months ago, brought this complaint to Chief Choi because Van Nuys Detective Board has not done any investigation against the criminal law specialist who has robbed me multi-million dollars. I'm assuming it's a $14 million city, LA, and property owner $14 million lawsuit on a full disability status created by their property, my injury on their property. These attorneys have done nothing but lie and fabricated documents. I sued them in Chatsworth Court. A judge was brought in and dismissed the case from Los Angeles. I sued them for a second accident at the El Super. We were over here at Stanley Moss. A judge came in that was related to one of the attorneys that I'm working with and dismissed the case. Now, I have here, I was told I had to bring concrete evidence. I have concrete evidence right here where these attorneys claim that they received $25,000 from the city and $25,000 from the property owner. I have $50,000 right here from the property owner where they failed to tell me or anyone that $25,000 was in their possession, where they cashed and deposited without my authorization. I have here a fraudulent alleged electronic signature that I signed a release. It's just fraudulent. Just because it says Carranza email, it's not my email. It's never been my email. And this is what these attorneys have been producing and produced to detective board to get all of you guys inspected, be thrown out. I have my copy of my driver's license with my actual signature that I need you to compare. There is so much evidence, I'm sorry, please don't cut me. There is so much evidence that I'm giving you page 1 of everything that they've done. They have cross-complained, the city cross-complained.
Wow.
Okay, ma'am. Chief, can we have someone assist you?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, we're gonna have an officer assist you. Thank you for your information.
Thank you, I'm looking for some help, and, Chief, I would like you to have this, please. This is for you, so that you don't forget. Somebody, please do something.
Thank you, ma'am.
The next speaker is Luis Ochoa.
Hello, good morning. I'm here to represent my brother Hugo Cachua. My name is Luis Cachua. Hugo was my oldest brother. A year ago, on May 30th, 2024, my brother was horrendously shot and killed by an off-duty police officer on medical leave, Victor H. Corral, for the LA Police Department. They happened in Ontario, California. They had some type of little altercation in the street, got out of the car. They had some type of incident going on with them, verbally.
He needs to get closer to the mic. It's not gonna pick up.
Out of nowhere, Corral pulls out a weapon and shoots my brother 6 times. My brother tried to run away and get away. He was unarmed. He had no weapons whatsoever. And this has devastated our family very much. We've been hurting every day, grieving my mom, his kids, our family, everyone that loved him. So we just want, accountability, transparency. I look around here and said to protect and to serve. You guys are working for the people, to protect the communities, to keep everyone safe, everyone's life. It's tragic to be ended. From you guys, it is to ours. We're all human beings. Just because you have a badge and work for the department doesn't make you no higher, no less than anyone else. So we just want everyone to know that this is very, very unfair to us to have to fight for justice, to look for, a way out, to serve for different types of resources, different things that we can do so we can stop this senseless killing. They're supposed to be here to protect and to serve us, to pretty much withhold every life, at the utmost respect. But I just feel like my brother didn't do nothing wrong. There's 2 human beings having an altercation. One has a police weapon on him. So we've heard, and we don't know why he had to murder our brother. He tried to run away, tried to get away from him. Corral's been off for work for over a year. He shouldn't be carrying a weapon, and he still had. And yet he had the video evidence video evidence, standing over my brother while he's down on the ground, shot, hurt, can't do nothing for himself, defenseless, and he still pulls the trigger 3 more times.
Oh, shame.
1 to his head, 2 to his chest, other areas of his body, so he executed him. We don't know what's wrong with him. He's been on the force for 29 years. He's a veteran. And he chooses to do this act to my brother. And now they're being defended. The Department of Justice is looking into this investigation, so we just want answers, we want transparency, and we want accountability. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker, Melissa Benamontes.
My name is Melissa Miramontes, and I'm here on behalf of my family and my brother, Hugo Ernesto Cuchua, who was brutally and unjustly killed by one of your own. Off-duty LAPD officer Victor Corral on May 30th, 2024, just 1 year ago. Hugo was a son, a father of 2 teenage boys, a brother, a protector, an uncle, and a deeply loved human being. Today he was involved in what should have been a minor fender bender, with what appeared to be just a regular car, a regular John Doe. But instead of being treated with basic human decency, Hugo was physically fought and then shot multiple times, including a fatal shot to the head, by a man in plain clothes who never identified himself as law enforcement. How does a man in a fight who pulls a gun get to shoot and kill an unarmed person and walk away with no consequences?
Jeez.
The shooter had no life-threatening injuries. He was seen standing, walking, and talking just fine. His ego might have been hurt, but Hugo was the one left dead. Hugo was the one walking away. He was the one left laying on the ground, and Hugo was trying to get out of the situation. And then he was executed. Hugo had a lot to lose: his life, his kids, his future. He never gambled with his life. He valued it, and others. This officer chose violence. He acted with rage, pride, and no accountability. He thought no one was watching, but we were. And now the world is. Let me be clear. This is not a trade de-escalation. This is not how law enforcement should act. This was murder. And only after pulling the trigger did Officer Corral pull the badge. He shoots people when he's off duty. Look at his past. 2 other officer-involved shooting. When he shot a man back in 2002 when he was off duty leaving work. He has a history of violence and erratic policing. This time he made his point. He can kill on or off duty. Now he's hiding behind the badge while our family is left to bury Hugo, raise his children without their father, and fight this dark, broken system that has killed too many of us for far too long. We have heard all the excuses, investigation this, investigation that. Why is Victor Corral still free? Why hasn't the LAPD taken action? Why has the officer continued to be gone unnoticed? No answers to what is going to happen to this officer. You shouldn't protect murderers with badges. You don't get to call this justice. The Department of Commission and the Department and the Commission must act now. We demand full transparency into this investigation. We demand charges to Victor Corral. Hugo was a father, and we will not be silenced.
Thank you.
Fuck LAPD! Shame on you guys!
Shame on you. Please put him on the agenda
Fucking
so we
voted on
can
it
talk
April.
about it more.
April 22nd, you don't remember?
Yeah, he was on April 24th, 2025.
These-
You did a
didn't
closed
fucking know.
investigation, and I would like to know what happened. Please let that investigation be going on record, because you guys had that behind the scenes, and that's why we're here. We waited very patiently to fight you guys to have your conclusion.
Thank you.
Please, pull that agenda. You guys just had it, April 24th, 2025. Thank you.
Dang. Embarrassing. For all of you.
So, and hello, Jonathan Foster, I support the LAPD, but I gotta highlight things that need to change. You know, there's the 210.46 duty of officers to report misconduct. I'm gonna glance through 12 topics. One is Jimmy Carter, he died, wanted to give him a mention. He wrote his important correspondence in pencil. And it was because up until recently though, pencil was not able to be detected by surveillance or spy technology. On 3C today for cams, where is your commission cams? How come you haven't put that on so you wear commission cams? Today on 4B, the complaints, and of course I've heard, and we've all heard from some extremely brilliant people, bias reports, there were hundreds of them, only one was sustained over many years. Closed session today, 5A, on the chief. You know, in New York City, there was a Steve Hyland, he was falsifying crime stats, so he got demoted to a desk job. Jim need to resign, doing the same thing. How about this one?
This will be an ongoing conversation on conducting the use of force training. Most important, the ultimate outcome. Either the training is wrong. Training.
So, you're talking about the Baldwin Park officer, he was shot and he had no body armor, and the blame is on Eileen Decker. She's guilty of failing the police department. There was also one shot dead in New Mexico. The next topic, there was a female LA Sheriff's Department suicide. And I have mentioned having a sleep log and how much caffeine. You know, caffeine is responsible for more suicides than you realize. Bill Clinton, December last year, he went to the emergency room for dehydration. And so this leads me to what I came to speak about continually. Yang Yang's parents did not do this with Yang Yang and these other 5 names. So that's not really actually at fault, because most people don't think like this. Probably no one connected to people like Rosario Mack, Wilfred Blanco, Takar Smith, Linda Sarah Moran, and Yang Yang. Okay, so I've talked about these things. The caffeine, the sugar, the proper sleep, the omega-3s, the raw vegetables, the multivitamins. A few I didn't mention is fermented food, taking a supplement of amino acids. And of course, all these people are just completely dehydrated. Now, one thing I haven't spoken about, though, is the prescription of medications, or were they on meth or crack? Now, I know that's, but what I'm looking at is food sources, stimulated food sources for being dehydrated. And then it gets blamed on the police department for shooting these people. And I think that's really...
Next speaker is Alden Ellie.
Hi. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's for
Good morning. I'm here, I'm always here to keep bringing attention to the crimes against children, elderly, and humanity by the, they're called the Church of Scientology, but I don't consider what they're doing in church. We have a peaceful protest. Peaceful is the key word, because that's what I'm about. We have no worries here. There's not going to be any violence from our side. We are here, we use our voice, we use our passion, but we do it with integrity and with peace. You've met numerous victims of Scientology. There's many more you've never met or heard from. And it's in their honor and to give them a voice. And also for all their ADA violations, so it's a little bit for me too, and all the ADA abuses that they do. Because they consider me a degrading being just because I'm disabled. And but I have concerns, because ever since I announced the peaceful permit, all of a sudden I'm getting phone calls for pre-planning my funeral, okay, within 2 hours. All of a sudden there's a man who claims to be Scientologist, and he's in and out of their properties, and he assaulted a protester, he menaced another, and he showed up where I was as well, didn't do or say anything, but the message was sent. And I know they wanted to, and they also are going after me with their PR, black PR, with their Freedom Magazine. This is how they, if you ever look into Paulette Cooper, you can see more of what they're capable of to silence their enemies. And I know it's to deter me, to scare all of us, and to not doing, having a protest, but I don't take intimidation too low. And I am continuing, we all are, people are coming in because they're standing up for their victims of Scientology until you guys go in there and rescue every victim and make sure they're okay. And Laura, she wants to sing to her dad, we're doing on Father's Day, people are giving up their Father's Day. So Laura, who's not allowed to say hi to her dad, she's not allowed to hug her dad, they will not allow it. And we want her to be able to sing, she's a singer, and to be able to sing to her dad. And to let him know she loves him, even though we know he's gonna be, behind the walls or whatever. And I'm also gonna have a list of the 200, at least the 200 names of children who have survived, Scientology, and many of them are not with us anymore, because they didn't survive. There's suicides, they have the highest suicide rate among survivors of Scientology. People don't realize what is going on, so we're here for that. They also tried to get a permit to close the street down that same day to prevent art, but thankfully we had ours, and the city said, no, we're entitled to our First Amendment. But I am asking you, Chief, if I may have 3 seconds left, can you please make sure we have the security we need, because we want it peaceful and we don't trust them. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Jason Reedy.
Okay, so in an LA Times article, the headline from April 30th, 2008, it reads, 320 complaints of racial profiling and not one had merit, LAPD says. A big fat zero, said Commissioner John Mack, who these chambers are named after. In my mind, there's no such thing as a perfect institution. I find it baffling that we have all these zeros. Now, Bird Brain Bill Bratton, of course, rejected the idea that some allegations were unproven by LAPD standards that might still be legitimate. He said, this is not a racist department. It's not a homophobic department. It's not a brutal department, he claimed. Does it have some officers who may be those things? Possibly, but we searched very hard for them, and their numbers are very small. Now, this is the same line that McDonald will likely repeat verbatim today, the same tired script. One that might sound good in a Hollywood movie, but of course doesn't hold up in the real world. Now, fast forward to another LA Times article headline from December 2015. LAPD found no bias in all 1,356 complaints filed against its officers. In this 2024 annual summary of complaints report, 1,766 biased police complaints were made, and not a single one was sustained. Now, how many years running is that for the city that Brittle Bratton named ground zero for addressing racial bias? Now, I revisited the December 15, 2015 Police Commission meeting, and I want to highlight a point from our dear elder Hamid Khan's public comment that day. He referenced how the lack of sustained bias complaints was part of the landscape of this rotten institution. He was right then, and he's still right today. And in the same meeting, Steve Sobroff, the LAPD's go-to favorite racist grandpa, pushed the narrative that the full rollout of body cameras at that time would provide more evidence to help sustain these complaints. And fast forward 10 years, and here we are. Not a single bias complaint has been sustained. And the public still never sees any of that body cam footage. What you call the quote-unquote strongest accountability metric to the public. Now, we know through your body cams and other surveillance tools that you likely have more footage of us than parents do of their children. And with that, you could practically produce a documentary on many people sitting in the room right now. Now let's ask, who's filing the majority of these biased policing complaints? Anyone care to guess? It's black people, right? When you look at every aspect of the LAPD's terror against our communities, who do you think bears the brunt of it? Black people. Now, speaking of complaints closed in 2024, let's not forget that the LAPD determined that when Senior Lead Officer Elizabeth Southern said that I was high on drugs and threatened to call DCFS on my family for saying, fuck you pigs, that wasn't considered to be discourteous. She went as far as taking a picture of me and my child, my then 15-month-old child, to file a report with DCFS. Now, this report listed 302 pigs, 3.4%, ended up with sustained complaints in 2024. But what you won't tell the public is that complaints were made against 3,882 of your pigs, the highest it's been in over a 4-year period. That's 33% of your workforce had a complaint filed against them. Of your sworn pigs, we filed 272 complaints. Only 18 were sustained. So does that mean that these pigs who were lying about their counterparts, does that mean that they were lying about their counterparts?
Thank you.
Can somebody explain that? I know lying is standard for this department.
Thank you.
Did they get a promotion? Did they get paid?
Public comment period.
And how did the commissioner not know that she voted for it?
Thank you.
They voted
Please step
for
away
the
from the
murder
podium. You're
of
disrupting
their
the
loved
meeting.
one in policy.
You are
Did vote for
disrupting the
that?
meeting. This is your first and
You
only
didn't know
warning.
that? How do you not know that as a police commissioner?
please step away from the podium. You are disrupting the meeting. Thank you.
Go.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for honoring me to be able to say this.
Oh, you're awesome.
Just another little piece on that also is that how the language changed during Grafton's time. It was always racial profile. And this was, when Matt was here, this is how they put a spin on that and change that to biased policing, to keep it more sanitized. And I just want to thank you for your attention and just really a lot of condolences to the family, because this is the most murderous police department in the country. This is a rubber stamp body. Do not, just get caught up into this thing that they represent the people, that this is a people's body. It is not a people's body. We are the people's body. And thank you for holding their feet to the fire and stay with it. We are with you every Tuesday. We are with you all the way. Because we expose them, we disrupt them. It's not only that, what Jason was talking about, let me give you another example, that how they go after our people and how they are so complicit in this pipeline of abductions and kidnappings that are happening by ICE and the federal government of our community members as well. The report that Jason was talking about also includes 47,528 field interview cards in 1 year, 365 days. What are field interview cards? That people are stopped, our youngins are stopped, and all that information is taken in. What is that information that is taken in? It's their name, it's their address, it's their email address, it's their social media handles and all of that, and gang affiliations and tattoos. Now they're wearing a body camera as well, right? In the body cameras, they have, as per their own documents, 6 million gigabytes. I have no idea how much information that is of that information. What happens to that information? That is uploaded into Coplink, to record management systems. That is connected to Coplinks, to Linux, to the California Law Enforcement Telecommunications System, to the National Crime Information Center, and on and on and on, which ICE and the federal government and the FBI have direct access to. So it's not only that they're murdering our people, they are separating families, they're kidnapping people, they're abducting people. And this is the kind of fuckery that we see day in and day out. The most murderous. And this body, we come here not expecting them to do anything. We come here to expose them. We come here to disrupt them. We come here for us to build our power and build our knowledge and shut down this shit. Because they are deeply complicit. It's not about invasion of privacy, or it's not about, it's the intentionality to cause harm. If we thought that the origins of policing from slave patrol, if you were a non-white person, if you were an enslaved indigenous person, had ended, it has taken on technological shapes. It has taken on those kind of violences as well. So thank you so much, and we are with you. I'm with Stop LAPD Spine First.
So to continue on this point about just the theater of oversight and how insidious it is, this police department is a racist, violent police department. For every empty gesture that y'all put forward, present care, there are 100 documented instances of violence that takes place every day by your officers. And that's the truth we choose to uplift. And I think I just want to start today's comment off by a direct quote from former LAPD Police Chief Ed Davis, where he says, I would much rather celebrate Gay Conversion Week, which I will gladly sponsor when medical practitioners in this country find a way to convert gays to heterosexuals. And that was Ed Davis's response to being invited to the 1975 Pride Parade. And in the following week, he actually used LAPD to raid a gay community event, a fundraising event. And so I want to juxtapose that history against the very big Pride presentation you had when one walks in. And, just to emphasize how insidious this performance is, how well orchestrated it is. Today, you're talking about an instance of violence against a trans community member. Trans community members are attacked every day. They're a very vulnerable community. They call the police all the time. Police respond to these instances all the time. Why is McDonald bringing it up today? And even highlighting the hypocrisy in talking about feigning care for a trans community member when the LAPD didn't bat an eye when their officers killed Linda Becerra Morano,
Yep,
a
that's
trans woman
right.
who called the police, who was being trafficked, who asked for help. Officers showed up and they killed her. That's how this department treats trans identities, queer identities of all sorts. And, you know, in case there is this inclination to think about this as something that happened 50 years ago, a few months ago in March, recordings leaked where LAPD officers were being explicitly homophobic. That's this department by and large. But there are moments of honesty, and we saw that today from Commissioner Shields, your questions around social media surveillance. And I think there were some really interesting points that were brought up around monitoring social media feeds, suppressing social media content that might be criminal in some sense, and partnering with social media companies. And McDonald, you stepped in to say, oh, we can't share investigatory information. That's really just an effort to keep this department, secret police department. We have public records requests that we've been putting in trying to get information about this, and they've been hiding it time and time again. But if you go online, the Daily Mail in 2021 actually released a very gross video out of 77th Division. This is 77th Division, LAPD's video, highlighting how they work with Meta, Facebook, to freeze accounts. It's a very racist video. I encourage you to check it out. But all these tactics you're talking about in relation to something that's accepted as criminal in this setting, you talk about it freely, but when we understand that being black and brown and protesting is criminal, we know that you use these tactics on us for everything else.
So Jason and Hamid talked about this a little bit, but you have a whole summary here on your agenda, a summary of complaints which your department has received. Let's be super clear. Your summary of complaints is a summary of how you've attempted to cover up your violence to the public. You have a complaint process so that it can appear like you do something to address when your piglets enact heinous violences against people. Jason mentioned this, but out of 1,766 instances of what you called quote-unquote biased policing, you considered exactly 1,766 of those instances as unsubstantiated and you dismissed the complaint. Let's be clear too that biased policing is racist policing, it's homophobic policing, it's transphobic policing. You don't want to even use the language of racial profiling, so you say biased instead. But biased policing is just the watered down way that you dumb nuts say racist. Notably, for those of you who are up there and need math help, 1,766 out of 1,766 dismissed is 100% dismissed, which means that 0% of the complaints you deem substantiated. Out of every single instance of direct and overt racism in policing, you dismissed every single complaint. It goes to show your whole complaint system is nothing more than a cleanser. Cleansing your image, cleansing your hands of blood, and once again, you say that this oversight body did oversight when you did literally zero oversight. You let the people complain about sexual assault and racism, and then you subsequently dismiss them. And Rasha and Vanessa, you better shut the fuck up. You have no right to talk about violence against trans folks when you are the body who killed Linda Becerra Morano because she was trans. Your erasure of her death, your blasé attitude, and your callousness about her life don't even begin to encapsulate the way her blood remains on your hands, no matter how many times you try to scrub it away with your condolences about another hate incident. You sit up there and you posture while you simultaneously greenlight the biased policing incidents that led to Linda's death and the death of countless trans women in the past and in the future. And Jim, you talked about surveillance footage of the hate incident against the trans woman, lest you not forget the footage of your own Piglet's body cam showing the murder of a trans woman. It's on fucking camera. Not to mention an instance in which your AOPRs caught a stolen vehicle by killing the person who stole the vehicle. Your pigs can't drive well enough to not cause fatal car accidents. No wonder why you needed 17 grand to upgrade your car wash. You quite literally need to wash away the blood of the community members you killed from your cars. Your automatic license plate readers are automating your ability to track, hunt, and kill the community members and the people you deem disposable. And Jim, why the fuck do you talk about youth listening to bands and music the same way you call terrorist incidents? You equivocate gang activity with warm weather, with your talking about how lads gather to listen to music is the same thing as a violent disruption, but you got the violence and the chaos. You sicked riot cops on young kids and then you shot them with rubber bullets. Go fuck yourselves.
Hey.
mentioned, but this board is not a site of oversight. It is a stage for the performance of accountability while the machinery of violence marches on unimpeded. Item 3C asks for more time for the LAPD to continue building out a data and architecture that criminalizes and categorizes our people under the guise of, quote, digital evidence management. This isn't about data management, it's about surveillance. The body-worn camera program was never about protecting communities. It was about managing public perception while building a surveillance apparatus that feeds footage into Axon-run databases, data controlled by the police or the police, including federal agencies. LAPD boasts of hoarding over 6 million gigabytes of surveillance data, yet their own complaint report shows that less than 4% of complaints are ever sustained. This isn't a contradiction, actually. It's the function of policing, to accumulate mass data for control and prosecution, because policing exists to uphold racial domination, not to correct itself. And may have been postponed, but the Healthy Room Project, this $20K donation to the Community Safety Partnership Bureau to fund room makeovers for youth handpicked by the police. It's not generosity, it's propaganda. It is an engineered photo op, not a solution. Police are not social workers, they're not therapists, and they're not caregivers, they're violence workers. The same CSP police that patrols black and brown neighborhoods with guns and surveillance is now being marketed as a benevolent force giving away IKEA furniture. Meanwhile, over 94% of CSP's budget goes to the police salaries and benefits, 94%. This is not investment in community, this is extraction disguised as care. What does it mean to give a child a new bed while your institution evicts their family, arrests their parents, or harasses them on their way home from school? In the annual complaint report, like everyone mentioned, another ritualized performance of due process where every year thousands of complaints are buried, nullified, or dismissed. LAPD claims to take oversight seriously, but in the same breath reports not a single biased policing complaint was sustained out of 1,766 filed. Not one. That's not a failure of evidence. It's a system functioning exactly as it was designed. To shield police and silence communities. These reports are not mechanisms of truth. They are tools of counterinsurgency meant to absorb public outrage and launder legitimacy. Policing in Los Angeles is clearly not a broken system. It is a meticulously engineered regime of control, calibrated to criminalize survival and disappear and murder our people. From body-worn cameras to daily patrols, its machinery works not to protect, but to repress. Cloaked, organized violence in the language of safety. And what is especially shameful is that in your own fucking timeline, it starts off the queer LAPD timeline with a history of police violence against queer communities. And again, it stops in 2021. Do you guys know what tokenization is? Do you know what that is?
Right.
Because fuck all your gay cops, fuck all your trans cops, fuck all your non-binary cops. The moment they throw the back, they turn their back on the queer community. And Russia shit on you for saying LAPD protects trans communities when they murdered Linda Percer-Morone in February. Shame.
Yeah, that's right.
Megan.
So Megan.
Hi, I just wanted to say I'm really sorry for your brother. I'm also sorry that you will never get anything from them. I've really lost track of how many families have come here pleading for justice and we don't do shit. The whole purpose of policing is to control us with force and fear. So for them, your brother's murder is the cost of doing business. We, the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition, organizes to end them all together, to end policing because it's inherently racist and violent, and I invite you to join us because there's no justice here. I want to thank the people that put together the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition's bullet points every week. It's really how we know what LAPD is up to. I want to talk specifically about the donation today to the Healthy Room Project because it highlights the connection between billionaires and peace. So the Healthy Room Project is run by Janet Crown. She's a billionaire. Her family's worth $12 billion. She admits that the goal of this program is to change the narrative between policing and community. Which community is she referring to? It's not Beverly Hills, it's not Encino, it's not Santa Monica. Of course not. The community she's hoping to change the narrative of policing are black and brown poor people from South LA, where LAPD murders and bombs and surveils them 365 days a year. She hopes to change that narrative, by the way, by having cops give away some cheap furniture one day a year. So policing in this country began when wealthy white people who forcibly enslaved Africans hired poor white people to form a gang and return those enslaved people to them when they ran for freedom.
That's
And when they
right.
were no longer legally allowed to own people directly, those slave-catching gangs started surveying and criminalizing black people so they could be put in jail and thus legally enslaved again for their labor. That's the history of policing in this country. That's what it still is. This lady, Janet Crown, her wealth was built and is maintained on the exploitation of poor people, who she now seeks to pacify with cheap furniture. She donates to police because you protect her interests.
That's right.
You protect her property. You put down protests which seek to change conditions for poor people, including union busting. And you selectively enforce the law so you can re-enslave black people via prison labor and generate more wealth for her. You all run cover for that. You sanitize it and professionalize it and fund it. This is gang activity. I don't want to hear you fucking talk about gang activity because this is gang activity. Fuck you guys. Sorry for your brother. Please join us.
The next speaker, Henry.
Hold it. My name is Henry Marini, and I'm going to tell you the story, a real story that actually happened to me on exactly how I found out that Ishmael Peinado, the detective over at Northeast Division, is in fact the Scientology mole that's actively, selectively, and maliciously prosecuting anybody that speaks out about the kiddie trafficking and kiddie SA cult known as Scientology. It's really a kiddie RAPE cult, and it's international. And really what LAPD is doing is aiding and abetting the prosecution of any activists. So I'm going to take a step back. June 16th, 2024, I had about half a dozen people over at the Catalina Street intersecting Fountain Avenue and West Sunset Boulevard. Scientology had illegally blockaded the public right-of-way all across Catalina as well as Fountain and El Hubbard Way. The city actually issued a notice that it was illegal for Scientology to blockade the public right-of-way. That in fact, June the 2nd, 2024, one of your very own officers, Michael Ventura, actually informed high-level officials at Scientology that they cannot put all these blockades to the public right-of-way. It is illegal, and that the activists there are peacefully exercising their First Amendment right. Of all the people that were there that were removing each of those barriers, only I was selectively prosecuted and issued a one-count misdemeanor charge of vandalism for simply removing the nets and putting them over on the side so that people wouldn't get hurt, so that the public right-of-way wouldn't be blockaded. And I, and only I, was prosecuted. And I'm going to tell you the story of why that is. So the city attorney, Heidi Feltzing Soto, in fact, runs the biggest gang in LA. It's not the LASD, and it's not the LAPD by far. It is Heidi Feltzing Soto. And what you need to know about Heidi is that she actually worked, get this, for the Arthur Anderson accounting firm, which was the same accounting firm used by the Enron Corporation to commit wide-scale fraud. She's a banking lawyer who's been permanently banned on planet Earth from every Citibank location.
Off topic to what.
Do not interrupt me, and I want to correct for my time.
Interrupt you.
So I'm going to go ahead and explain again how that's linked to LAPD Ishmael Peinado. Okay, that's serial number 40873. That's what Ishmael Peinado is, colluding actively and on his own damn report committed perjury and admitted there was no evidence of the ownership of the netting, there was no evidence of damages, and you were talking about quick prosecution, Jim. Well, you know how fast this case was actually filed? Under 2 weeks, Jim. So you're telling me that the LAPD can go and prosecute activists in 2 weeks having zero evidence, but when stuff that's literally in front of you on video, you guys won't prosecute it? Absolutely disgusting. I'm going to sue you guys, and I know I have the written report for the OIG guys soon, so I emailed you earlier. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Yep.
Morning, my name is Mika Sanchez. I am the sister of Mario Sanchez Flores. He was killed by the LAPD Southeast Division on March 14, 2025. He was unarmed, he was murdered, he was pulled over, and my brother was a family man. He was a son, a father. I love them so much and I miss him, and our life has changed so much. I don't understand why did they do that to him. They shot him to death. 40 times more officers.
Oh my God.
So we just want accountability from the officers who did that to him, and I want the commissioners to hold him accountable for what they did, and we want answers, and we're not gonna stop fighting for justice for my brother. He is missed, and our lives have changed so much, so please, if you guys could help us, we appreciate your help.
Thank you.
And then the last question, part, Mr. President, I'm having issues with the Zoom, so we did not take any Zoom today.
Thank you.
Taking any Zoom in
We'll now
weeks.
move on to agenda item number 3, which is the consent agenda items. We have items 3A through 8 today, and I will take any comments, questions to pull items from my fellow commissioners. Any?
I've got it all printed off
Hearing
right.
none, then
I
I
got the
move that
complaint,
we
there's the
adopt
exhibits,
the
and then there's the
recommendation for
actual
action
report in
items
case summons.
3A through 8.
Cool. Thank you.
Moved and second, all in favor, say aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to agenda item number 4, the regular agenda item